I'm vilified, I just rap on the side, black mafia ties.
What's good, everybody? What's good? It's your boy, Cardinal Bud Crawford, or E.S. Red, if that's what you want to call me. And we are back for another one. Alright, y'all, new topic. Who is chasing who? Terence Crawford, Errol Spence Jr., the fight of the decade. Alright, y'all, so one conversation that keeps coming up every time I talk or I'm in the the chat area of my videos. One topic I think that keeps coming up is that Terence Crawford's been chasing Errol Spence Jr. for at least 3 to 4, maybe even 5 years now. And I just wanted to break that down. Like, who's actually chasing who? Who's pursuing who for this fight? Now, I think it's kind of a complicated question in a way, because I don't think, to be honest with you, either one of these guys are pursuing the other one. I think this fight is an inevitability, meaning that because Undisputed is involved, this fight has to happen. It's not like these guys are looking to fight each other. I think if neither one of these guys were champions, but they were just really good fighters, neither one of them held title belts, they could probably go their whole career and never fight each other. Almost like Mayweather and Pacquiao. Mayweather and Pacquiao pretty much spanned their whole career and never got into the ring with each other until their careers were pretty much over with. So I don't think it's a question of who's chasing who or who's pursuing who. I think it's just this fight is an inevitability. Now, if you want to say who wants this fight more, who actually wants this fight to happen more, I would have to say Errol Spence Jr. And it's not a bias, no bias involved in that. It's just based off what Errol Spence Jr. has been doing. He's been going around fighting champions like for the past 4 years. Now, me personally, I think he ducked Pacquiao, and I'm always going to think he ducked Pacquiao. But Pacquiao wasn't a champion. So I don't think that fight even meant much to him, other than people felt like Pacquiao was still a factor at the time. So he took a challenge. He's willing to challenge himself. And I don't think he cares. I don't think he cares too much about who he's challenging. I think he just wants the biggest challenge. Terence Crawford's a little different. I think Terence Crawford challenges himself when it benefits him. I don't think everything is based off the hardest challenge or the best fight that's out there for him. I think if it's beneficial to him, he'll take it. If it's not beneficial to him, he just kind of like throws his hands up at it, or he stalls negotiations or backdoor his way out of the fight. Similar to a lot of people think that Pacquiao didn't want to fight him. No, it was the other way around. He didn't want to fight Pacquiao because there was nothing. I think there was nothing that benefited him out of that fight, other than, to him, I don't think he felt like he benefited anything out of that fight. He would have benefited anything out of that fight. But if you ask me, it would have put him in that $20 million club if he would have fought Pacquiao, because the exposure he was going to get from that fight would have shot his name way up into the history books of boxing. Now, I know there are going to be some people to disagree with that because they're going to say, well, Ugas beat the crap out of Pacquiao and Ugas didn't get no fame off of it. Ugas did beat Pacquiao. It wasn't like he beat the crap out of him. He didn't. It was almost an even fight. You know, he only won by like 1 point, a point and a half. Ugas didn't receive the fanfare I thought he would off of beating Pacquiao. But I said in videos before that fight happened, Ugas was going to be a victim of his own success. And you can go back and watch that video. I think that's what I named it, Ugas would be a victim of his own success. Because I knew from the beginning of that it was a setup anyway. They set him up for that fight. And I knew if Errol Spence Jr. was to beat him and beat him convincingly, then people were going to start pulling the notion out of the hat that, well, if Ugas beat the crap out of Pacquiao and Spence beat Ugas decisively, then that means Spence would have beat Pacquiao, which makes absolutely no sense at all. But it's how, you know, boxing is. You know, we're dealing with younger fans now, and they don't really think too deeply about what they're saying. They just say it. And to tie that back into Terence Crawford, Errol Spence, and why and who's pursuing who, I feel like Errol Spence takes on all challengers. There's not a fight in the welterweight division that actually meant something he didn't try to take. Now, the Pacquiao situation, once again, it's a little different. It's a little iffy because of the fact that Pacquiao's retired now. If Pacquiao wouldn't have retired and when Errol Spence came back, would he have still fought him? I don't know. We can't really say at this point whether that would have played out that way because, you know, Pacquiao's retired, Errol Spence has moved on. But I do feel like Errol Spence accepted all challenges. Did all challenges play out? No, they all didn't, but he did accept all challenges. So you can't say that one guy is pursuing, i.e. Terence Crawford is pursuing Errol Spence when he's not accepting all challenges. Errol Spence has laid down a contract. Now you can argue the terms of that contract and whether it's fair for Terence Crawford to sign off on it or not. But how can you be pursuing somebody when they've already offered you a contract? You're no longer pursuing them at that point. You've basically caught them. You've caught what you want. You've reeled the fish in. And you threw it back because you caught a shark instead of a flounder. You caught a shark instead of a codfish. You were looking for something to eat and you caught something that's basically going to eat you. So if you ask me, and this is my video, so you're asking me, and the people in the comment section were asking me, who's pursuing who? Well, obviously it's Errol Spence pursuing Terence Crawford and trying to get Terence Crawford into the ring, because at this point it's up to Crawford to get into the ring. It's crazy because no matter how you look at it, you know, Terence Crawford has basically gotten what he wanted. He just, I think, is fearful of losing. He should be fearful of losing. This is a dangerous situation for him. If he loses, he's irrelevant at that point. If he wins, he's on top of the world, but I don't see him winning. So I think because there is that fear of losing, because there is that you might have to retire off that fight factor, I think he's done pursuing Errol Spence. You know, even though I don't think there is any more pursuit of each other because the fight's an inevitability at this point. I don't think Terence Crawford is actually pursuing this fight at this point because it's right there to be made and there's no need to pursue it. So if you're thinking that it's Crawford chasing Spence or Spence chasing Crawford, neither one of these guys have to chase each other anymore. All they do have to do is sign off. And at this point, Errol Spence has agreed to his portion. It's Terence Crawford who hasn't agreed to his portion. So it's up to you to answer that question at this point. I think we're getting close, y'all. I hope we're getting close. Whether it's in 22 or 23 is to be seen, but I think we are getting close. I think I'm going to leave it there for now. Hit that like button for me. Share, subscribe. Holler at me on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. But you're more than likely to get a response on YouTube than any of the other social media platforms. So holler at me over there if you want a response. I think I'm done rambling for now. It's your boy, Cardinal Bud Crawford, or E.S. Red, if that's what you want to call me. And we are out of hand.
Life's journeys, all I need is a couple of Mac Mills, a couple of meals, and good attorneys.